In today's video, I'll show you how I edited some of the photos I took at Hager Park in Jenison. After processing my images in Lightroom, especially with the black and white ones, I usually take them to Photoshop because I feel like tweaking it in Photoshop gives it a little bit more contrast. I usually play with the levels a little bit. Then I also go into Dodge and Burn. This is where I just touch up some of the highlights. So it just kind of makes the highlights punch out a little bit more. And I don't do a whole lot of it because I don't want to blow out the highlights, but I just want it to be a little more crisper in the contrast. Now in this image, I wanted the petals to show up just a little bit more. I brought it into Photoshop and just dodged just a trace amount around this area just so it would pop out a little bit more. And that's basically all I did in there. So I just like the dodge tool better in Photoshop for more precise touch-ups. Here's another image. I really like the strong leading line in here, the shadows, the highlights, but it just kind of was more shades of gray after I was done processing in Lightroom. So I brought it to Photoshop, tweaked the levels, and now I can just go on and touch up some of the highlights by dodging them in just a little bit. Again, not a huge amount, but just enough to make a difference. So I went from this image to this, and it's just a little bit more brighter highlights and deeper shadows. Here's another one where again it's just kind of like shades of gray back here, and brought it into Photoshop, and now there's some deeper shadows, better values, and the highlights are a little bit crisper as well. Here's one of those images where I liked the different look of each of my processes. So black and white, that's classic, that's how I shot it. There's a lot of different values in this image, highlights and shadows. The super color profile, this is how I looked at my camera. I also like this. It's a little on the cool side because of so much blue, but it still gives a different look to it. And then this is the color swap or channel mixer. I toned that down quite a bit just because I wanted just a touch of the color. This kind of makes it look a little more on the normal side while still retaining an ethereal quality to it. So here's another image. I went black and white, and I just wanted this blossom to pop a little bit more. So brought it into Photoshop. Again, played with the levels a little bit and got my dodge tool out. Just going to bring down the brush size a little bit and just working on dodging just trace amounts. I don't want it to blow out. I still want to retain some of that texture. This is how I ended up with. This is what I started off with. So not a whole lot of change, but very minute in just this specific area. The last image I want to talk about is this one. Really lots of shades of gray in here. Bringing it into Photoshop allowed me to play with the levels a little bit better, and the highlight then on the blossoms really pops out, as do the shadows in the background here. Help to bring balance between the dark and the light. And that's how I edit some of my black and white images. I hope you found this helpful, and thanks for watching.